For me, it's I'd rather. When I started this journey, I was gonna say how far I can get to the very top, and I didn't mind if I was gonna crash and burn on the way up there. You know, I wanted to do extraordinary things, and not live the life of the average person. That's what scared me, and that's what got me into this sport, was living a comfortable life and living a mediocre life. I was never for that, and that's why I always wanted my life to be like a movie. That's what I'm still living in this movie. It's a movie non-stop, and there's ups, there's downs, and you just got to go through them.
Welcome to the No Limit Boxing Podcast. We're back after a long break, and we're joined by a very special guest, Tim Tszyu, back on the No Limit Boxing Podcast again. Good to have you on here, Timmy.
First media little appearance since the fight.
Yeah,
It's good to be on now.
Well, what have you been doing since then? Because it has been a little while. You look like you got a good tan going on.
Yeah.
So
Well, first I went to visit my best mates in Hong Kong.
yeah,
So that's just a chill time there, and then came back, and basically me and the missus decided to get married, so that's taken over my life, let's just say that.
we probably need the break for that.
Yeah, you can't be juggling boxing right now and planning a wedding.
No. How was Hong Kong?
Good. I used to go there all the time to catch up with my best mates, but it's been 8 years overdue.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Has much changed there?
A little bit. There's more people.
Yeah.
It just shows how much we're so lucky and blessed to be in Australia.
Yeah. We do have a beautiful country.
Yeah.
Now, as you said, it is your first media since the fight. Let's talk about Orlando.
What do I say? Disaster at one point. At the same time, it's a blessing. The recap was, I felt unbelievable.
Yeah.
I would say it was the best I've ever felt leading into a fight. I got caught with a shot and I couldn't recover. In my head, I was tripping out at the fact that what's going on, and it happened so early that the fact that I couldn't really get to show exactly what I could have shown and the levels that I was at. It sort of happened at the start of round 2 there. And then from then on, it was just survival. I feel like, you know what, you let your team down, your people down, and yeah, it was just like it was a miserable night for me. I wouldn't say nothing good came out of it.
It's interesting that you said that you felt the best you've ever felt leading into it, because I think with every fight that we've seen from you, we see you grow every fight. And we see you take it to a completely another level every fight. And, I mean, it was hard for me to watch. I was back here.
Yeah.
I was back here, so I wasn't able to be there with you for the fight, and to watch it was very hard. But walking into the fight, what were you thinking? Obviously, you felt great. What were you thinking?
Maybe a little bit of cockiness, confidence. Maybe that's what I felt. I felt like in my head I was going to annihilate this guy. That's the state that I was in. It was a superhuman feeling that I felt. And boxing, all it takes is one shot, and it sort of changes the game. And it was one shot that got me real early, and something I've never felt before, you know. And for me, it was more about just survival. I was in my head. I was like, it's gonna be hard to recover from this, but I'm gonna come out swinging. So it's kill or be killed.
Oh, well, I love that attitude, and I think you take that into every fight. And I've heard you say that before, leading into other fights that you feel that invincible feeling. So, it's interesting.
It's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
You know, it's a gift and a curse. 100% confidence in all times, but at the same time, You need to feel a little bit different at times.
Yeah.
You know, you need to feel a little bit of fear, I guess. I had no fear that day. It was just this invincibility and how I performed before my fight and in the lead up in my sparrings, the preparation I got. It was just unbelievable.
And I heard everybody say the same thing too about how good the camp was. I know people say that as a cliche leading in, but knowing the work that you'd done, it's you really were in great shape leading into it.
Yeah, it was maybe a bit too long.
Yep.
For prep.
Yep.
I was in America for nearly 4 months.
That is a long time.
And it's a long time. The fight kept getting pushed back. We were leading to a certain date. And then I just had to sort of just like thug it on and just keep moving forward no matter what. So,
yeah. Now, the comeback is always greater than the setback. How do you look back now though on Backroom leading into it? Obviously, he was a world champ leading up to it. He'd earned that title. He's a great fighter. How do you look back on him?
Yeah, that's a tough question because he caught me early, and I never got to show myself, nor did he got to show himself. It reminds me of when I fought Ocampo.
Yeah.
You know,
I was just thinking the same thing.
Ocampo wasn't able to show himself for the fact that I caught him early, nice and early when he was cold, and that's all it took. And that's the thing with boxing, one punch and it changes everything, you know. So yeah, again, he's a top-notch fighter, of course. But with boxing, man, let's say if it's in basketball, the finals is a game of 5.
Yeah.
The winner to 5. Boxing is one chance, one opportunity, and that's all you get. And sometimes they don't stack up, and you got to live with it.
And it's a long time between fights too. That's one thing that I always say with boxing. It's so hard. Like in rugby league, in AFL, in basketball, you have an off game or you lose a game, you turn around in less than 7 days and you can completely change it. So you go from losing 1 week, a week later, you're the best in the competition again. Yeah. And you're able to turn that around so quick, whereas boxing, the turnaround is a lot longer. So there's a lot longer time between fights.
With rugby and all these types of sports, people don't remember the losses as much as boxing. You know, like something happens in boxing, you're getting so much critiques and people are saying this, people are saying that. And back in the days, it was different. Everyone's got this stigma of staying undefeated, but perfection doesn't exist.
No.
You know, and there's always going to be something in this game that's going to happen.
Well, we love the risk takers though, don't we? We love the people who challenge themselves leading into every fight. People love the fact that you say that you'll fight anyone, anytime.
Yeah.
They love that. But then, you know, with
it comes
risk
with a price.
Yeah.
It comes with a price. And it's all right, man. For me, it's... I'd rather... When I started this journey, I was going to say how far I can get to the very top. And I didn't mind if I was going to crash and burn on the way up there, you know. I wanted to do extraordinary things. And not live the life of the average person. That's what scared me, and that's what got me into this sport, was living a comfortable life and living a mediocre life. I was never for that, and that's why I always wanted my life to be like a movie. That's what I'm still living in this movie. It's a movie non-stop, and there's ups, there's downs, and you just got to go through them.
We've seen, what is there, 6 or 7 Rocky shows, and there's 3 creeds now, is there, or 4 creeds?
Yeah.
So the Tim Tszyu story will keep going
exactly.
on. Now, just days after your fight, you put up a video saying that you're going to look for answers.
Yeah.
What answers have you found so far after the fight?
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. there's been a lot of, I guess, thought about why, what happened. I was in the best shape. How did this happen? But in all honesty, the biggest answer is it's boxing, and you have to expect the unexpected. You know, I never take no opponent light. I know exactly what they bring. The fact is that I got caught nice and early, and I couldn't recover. I had a concussion, and I've never felt a concussion before. And that was the first time where I came back home and my head was just ringing. Didn't understand what was going on. Couldn't feel my legs. Yeah, but the answer's, I will never not prepare. I will always be 100%. I'm always a 100% true professional athlete at all times. So I just see it as a little setback.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I know everyone was banking on me to win, and I feel like I let a lot of people down, you know, and it is what it is, and we move on, and again, one step backwards, but two steps forward.
And I think it's a great reminder too for our boxing public, because you're so well supported here in Australia. People absolutely love you here, and your fan base has been growing overseas too, exponentially. So a lot of people support you. One thing that we do blind ourselves with, though, too, in Australia, the public that supports you, is that we expect you to win every time, and often will underestimate the people that you've stepped in the ring with because of that. So I think even leading up to the fight with Buckram, is that he was a world champion, but people still expected you to win, and I think the bookies had you as an odds-on favourite, and it's been the same though for Brian Mendoza, for Ocampo, for Tony Harrison. You've started these fights as a solid favourite, but every one of them fights, those guys are really top level guys. Yeah. And just because you've performed the way that you have, people assume that they weren't that good. Yeah. But the fact is that every one of those guys were at a top level as well.
There's no such thing on this level. There's no such thing as low competitors. Everyone's up there at the very top. So it is what it is, man. We risk our lives and we put it all on the line. We do it for the love of the sport, for the love of the fans, and I guess a lot of people respect that. But again, what I've noticed is that a lot of people love winners, but they don't like losers. And I guess things change, and you don't mean to lose, but it happens, you know, and
it's part of the journey.
It's part of the journey, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, you know, a lot of people have probably waited for their opportunity to have an opinion. When you're winning, people can't come out and have an opinion on what you should do or how you should do it.
Yeah, like, you know, honestly, like, there's hate now.
Yeah.
I never realised that there was that much hate.
Yeah.
There's I guess, jealousy. There's people talking shit. But it is what it is, man. As long as my family's not affected, that's all that matters for me. I'm in a good headspace. I know what's ahead of me. The journey doesn't end, of course. There's so much. Look at the war. Look at this war and what we've done already, and this is half of what the journey's. I just turned 30 years old, so there's still another 8-10 years, another decade to reach more things for me personally.
Don't worry, we've got a few more walls here either side too to fill out as well. Speaking of your family, your father was ringside for this one. Yeah. What was his advice after the fight?
I hadn't spoken to him. Yeah, I hadn't spoken to him.
Yeah. He actually had a shock upset in his career too, but he went on to have some of his best moments after that.
Yeah. He became a true professional, I remember. Became a true professional after the fight, after when he lost against Vince Phillips. But I've always sort of lived and breathed this sport, so I understand it all. It's just... a good phrase is don't take your wins too high and your losses too low.
Yeah.
You know? And I've tried to be like that, and a little glitch doesn't stop anything.
Yeah, well, you've definitely shown that, like with what you've done so far. Super welterweight has been has always been one of the most stacked weight divisions in boxing. Right now, it's very stacked. There's a lot of great fights in there. How proud of you are you of the longevity that you've had so far at the top level, the amount of great fights that you've already had to this point, and where you're headed?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Just making those big fights happen. And just keep challenging myself. You know, each day I wake up, I just want something to challenge. I feel like men these days are becoming weak. You know, weak mentally, physically. And I want to be the example that you got to be strong and challenge yourself. You don't want an easy life. Easy life doesn't produce anything good. You know, so. The tougher we suffer, not just suffer, but put ourselves through, the stronger the men will become. And that's what I'm all about.
I reckon you're headed that way for sure. Look, another thing after it was there was a lot of love shown from a lot of other fighters globally. You know, obviously Thurman, your former potential opponent. He was showing a lot of love. Antonio Tava, Caleb Plant all came out and were showing love after the fight. Were there any standout moments for you over there on people that you met who were showing that love?
You know what? Post fight, I've been sort of off the grid a little bit. I haven't really seen interviews or gone on much on social media, so I wouldn't really know. But yeah, all those fighters that obviously means a lot. I really like Caleb Plant. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
I like the way how he is inside and outside the ring. Keith Thurman, again, future opponent. We still got some unfinished business, you know.
Yeah, I like that.
Antonio Tava, I remember watching him back in the days when he fought Danny Green and the show that he put on. Very good fighter. Yeah, it just shows that, you know, these things happen in sport and we just have to move on. It's simple.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been an interesting year for you. I mean, off the back of the momentum that you've had in this division and what you've done, what are the silver linings that you've been able to take from this year? What have your learnings been from 2024?
I feel like I need to come back to Australia and take it back to the good old school days that got me to the top. None of this high performance and Airbnbs and all that stuff. Let's just take it back to how I started and what got me to that position. And that's the change that's going to happen in 2025.
And I think, well, like you said, it has been hard this year with delays with fights, with changes with fights.
Yeah.
And you have had to spend a lot more time overseas than you'd probably.
Yeah, I've only been here for like 7 weeks this year, you know.
Really?
Yeah, so I haven't been much at home.
That's nuts.
And you start to miss home.
Yeah.
And home is what, here in Australia, is what got me to be fighting in T-Mobile Arena and stuff like that, you know. So I believe that if I put my work here and twitch a little few things, we will be back 100%. Back at the top.
Oh, I believe you 100%. I'm with you 100%, and I think that the rest of the country is too. I think, as I said, what you've done for boxing here in Australia, the support that you've been able to garnish here in the country, I know that they'll all be back on board too, watching the journey of the bounce back. We love an underdog, but we love a great movie and a great story. And as you said, this is still only part of the Tim Tszyu series.
Exactly. This is episode 1.
So what happens now between now and the start of next year?
Now, I'm getting married.
How much effort are you putting into that?
Can't compete. Boxing can't compete with my missus. I love her to death, and that's my number one priority right now. I always put boxing as number one. Throughout my whole life, you know, boxing. you come back and you start to think, you know what, family's actually number one.
Yeah.
So right now we're family number one, and then we move the shift again, and then we put boxing back at number one.
So you're excited for 2025 though?
Yeah, right now it hasn't been in my thought right now. I'll be honest. But I know I'm starting to itch.
Yeah.
Starting to feel that same feeling of wanting to compete at the high level. And I definitely want to be back here in Australia and to fight under the Aussie fans and have that feeling again, because the last two, again, in America, completely different feeling. I lived that. The T-Mobile, that was the unreal experience, and even Florida, unreal experience, and all that teaches you is to only become better. And I can't wait to be back in front of the Aussie fans.
Well, we walk past we've got that massive big photo on the wall on the way into the office, and every sports person who comes in, sports person, business person, everybody who comes in and looks at that is in awe of the feeling. It's like you can feel the walkout at that moment.
Yeah, and when you're used to that, and then you go to Florida and it's nothing like that. It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, there's people jumping out of the.
I'm very spoiled in a way that I have love, that I have this type of love, and it's truly a blessing, But then again, everyone loves a winner. No one loves a loser, right?
No, they'll still be cheering for you. What's going to be most nerve-wracking? Would it be the walkout for the next fight, or will it be the walk down the aisle?
Walk down the aisle for sure. My missus, that's going to be the hardest one.
Yeah.
The boxing's easy.
No, I think it's a great way to finish the year, especially after, what you've had over the last few years, massive last few years, ups and downs.
Yeah.
I think it's a great finish to this year for you.
Yeah, for sure.
To open into what will be a great year next year. Now we've got a few more fights coming up at No Limit here to finish the year. We've got Sam Goodman heading over to Japan to fight on Christmas Eve against the monster Naoya Inoue.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? What does Sam need to do to win that fight? It's a very tough fight against an undisputed champion, one of the legends of boxing. Will go down as one of the greatest of all time. What does Sam need to do to win?
Land the first shot. Just the way Mutsulaev landed on me. Land the first shot. And then take him out.
It can happen, yeah.
Boxing, you never know what happens, You got a monster like Inoue in front of you. Again, you got to just land it. I don't think you need to be boxing him. I think you just need to go try and knock him out. If he's bigger, show your physique, show your strength. Sam Goodman's got great skills, but this is a completely different fight in terms of level of opponents and caliber that he's ever faced, or anyone has ever faced. In Australia. Inoue's the top of the tree in my opinion right now. Pound for pound number one. So he's just got to come out no fear mentality. And I think he's got that. It's not an easy task, but if he pulls this off, it's a crazy time for boxing in Australia.
Where would a Sam Goodman upset sit in world boxing?
In world boxing, number one. Easily. Inoue is the monster. He's number one pound for pound. He's been knocked down once by not his last opponent, the one before that. But he comes back, he's like a 4-division, 2-time undisputed world champion. Credentials speak for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, well, we're excited for that one on Christmas Eve. And that will finish our year off just 2 days after your wedding, actually. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, again, wishing
what a month.
All the luck to Sam Goodman. I'm sure he's put the big prep in. And I've seen a few clips that he looks in good shape.
Now we've also got one more show here in Sydney to round up our year as well. We've got Brock Jarvis sitting at the top of that. We've got Callum Peters on debut.
Yeah, I saw that.
Young amateur guy. He's we've just signed him, and he's looking forward to a big professional future. You've sparred with him a few times, yeah. What are your thoughts on Callum?
He's very good. He makes it very, very hard for you, and he's got a drowning personality where when you get in the ring with him, you sort of people will want to tap, and he'll do that, and he's competed at that top level in amateur boxing, so yeah, he's a high prospect.
So how's the future looking for him, you reckon?
High. Again, one step at a time, of course, but yeah, I rate Callum.
Yeah. We're looking forward to him too, and we're happy to welcome him to the team. And I think it sets up what'll be a great year next year. Is there any... I know that you don't want to look at anything next year yet. You've got a big finish to your year.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of talk out there. Obviously, Michael Zarafa has been very vocal since your last fight.
Yeah, of course.
What are your thoughts on Michael Zarafa and where he sits?
I think he's a yapper. When we went to America at the T-Mobile, there was no beef. I shook his hand. I actually wished him good luck. He did the same for me, and apparently that was a sign of weakness of me for going up to him and actually wishing him luck as a fellow Aussie. He's a yapper. I'm not entertaining that fight. I don't know what he's on about. There has been no discussion on my side whatsoever. I'm going to stick with my principles. He ain't making any money from me. So that game is over right now.
But I do still think there'll be plenty of great fights for you next year, and we do look forward to those. Look forward to Nikita being back again next year.
Yeah.
Actually, how's Nikita been?
Good question.
Where's Nikita
Good question.
been?
Where's Nikita? No, I think he's all right.
Yeah.
I think he's started training.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
from
good
what
to
I'm
know.
aware. From what I'm aware.
I know that he always talks about he'd love to go missing in the woods, and
yeah, he went missing in the woods for a bit. Yeah. Yeah, but he's back now.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, he'll be back again next year too. So I'm looking forward to a great year next year for you, and I do appreciate you coming on and having a yarn and sharing a bit about that Orlando experience, because it's something that I think everyone in Australia was shocked and is is looking forward to the rest of the Tim Tszyu
and again,
story.
look, apologies on my behalf. I didn't mean to lose or to get knocked down, but I kept coming up. I was on my feet. I was ready to die on that day, and I can't wait for the comeback. And I hope all of Australia can get behind and we can do the part 2 in this Tszyu story.
And we look forward to you doing it here in Australia too. You're talking about bringing back the old Timmy Tszyu, so people will see a lot more of you pounding the pavement locally.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
All right, Timmy. Well, thanks for your time and good luck. Good luck with the walk down the aisle. The most important entry. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more from No Limit Boxing.